Yo, what's up guys, Seiishizo here, and let's talk about the quality of life update I would like Com2us to add into Summoner's War. I recently saw it added in another game, and I definitely did not really see that much of an issue, or, well, the solution was actually that much more obvious. And first, let's talk about what is the issue. So, the issue is one of those things that we find in here, for example. Do Dimensional Hole? Probably is ruined, I can do that. Do Battle Dark Beast? Probably is kind of ruined, I can do that. Clear Steel Fortress? Well, I'm currently farming dragons. And when I'm farming dragons, I'm not being able to do any Steel Fortress because I always use my best runes towards my dungeon team. And for that reason, I only have one team rune at a time. Might you say, it's like, hey, Sei, but why don't you just simply add in like all of the dungeons and all of the runes everywhere? Well, at that moment, everything gets a lot slower. You have to have an insane amount of rune depth to actually keep everything running kind of good and that kind of stuff. So for me, for most cases, not everything is ruined. And let me tell you one thing that's even a bigger issue. Let's say the event comes of the free R5. Do you have all of your R5 units ruined up? Where are you going to get all of your R5 units? Because we even have like 4 different R5s right now. So sure, you can overlap a lot of these units and that kind of stuff. But I would have to double check. It's like, yo, wait, which of these are actually ruined and not? I would have to go in here. Like I have been doing that where I have like Jasons on my PC, which every Jason is like a different instance of all of the dungeon teams. And then I have like, how many Jasons do we need right now? Because if you want to really optimize it, you need 4 over here. I would say that these are kind of like whatevers because you don't really care too much about them because you only need like a 3.5 mil and you don't farm those too often. But 4 over there, 1 over here is 5, is 6, is 7. We don't really care about this one, so to be fair. And then an 8, and then a 9. So you're going to be needing 9 different kind of instances of your Jason to save. And then also every time that I do want to farm any of those dungeons, I would have to load them in. I would have to check all of the runes. I would have to go for this or go for that. And that kind of stuff, which is really annoying. And especially with like an R5 event comes up or this tells me to farm something that isn't ruined at the moment. These things are very annoying. And I do also think that a lot of people that are simply farming a lot of giants that they might be, it's like, hey, Sei brought out a new video or anyone else brought out a new video of like a good Necro team. Yeah, I don't really want to switch to Necro. Like, to be honest, Necro uses a little bit of different runes in the first place. But let's say for PC or Steel Fortress, the other way around, that you get a new kind of team. It's like, oh yeah, maybe I should actually be farming that. But nah, man, I can't be arsed to switch all of my runes to that team. I'm just gonna keep farming giants, and I'm gonna keep trying to get that quad speed on Swift, which you will never get. Whereas like hero artifacts would be like an insane improvement on your account, but you're like, nah, I don't really want to switch runes. I don't really want to go into dragons to maybe get like a fire rune where I can use like a 22 speed, whereas a 22 speed on your Swift is kind of useless. Just giving a bunch of examples, right? So what is the solution to that? And sure, you could make use of this thing over here, which you have right now, the decks, where you can actually send your deck to an alt account or a friend of yours, and you put in like every dungeon team in here. But I already have all of my arena teams in here. Some people were using Siege before. Siege is a little bit easier right now. But that would be a solution, kind of, but it's also kind of abusing a system that wasn't really meant for that. But thank you that it is borrowing like the possibilities to do that. But what would be a lot easier? Well, it would be a lot easier if I can go in here and I would have a deck in here. And then you might say it's like, oh, the decks like you have in Arena. Yeah, but slightly different. So let's see what it looks like in Arena. So if we go to Arena right now and we attack something, I have multiple decks. Everything has to be ruined at the same time, though, if you want to go for the deck. But wouldn't it be a lot easier if I can rune every individual deck to be an individual rune set of itself? So the moment that I say it's like, okay, I'm using this team right now, but I am switching to this team, then this team will be runed up. Sure, you have to pay your cost to actually rune that up, or like there's a special button or something like that. For Arena, to be honest, I don't really care about it, but just the idea of like whatever that is. So let's say we would translate that to a Giants run or any run. So let's say we go in here, we select the other deck, and I want to go for a Julie team. And now I want to be running it on the Julie team because normally I'm running it all time like kind of slow, like this. Well, this is actually a pretty fast team, but just for the idea of that, let's say that this is a slow team, but then you have like the event where you can pick up from the shop these things. Let's see where they're at. Where you have like the guaranteed drop of the one rune that you actually do lock in. So where's that at? It's on these ones. So let's say I claim this one. It's like, yeah, but now I actually want to farm it faster rather than my slow as clear. I would have to start reruning it, and therefore I don't want to like doing these events. Well, what if you can have like your slow team in here, but you click on a button, you go to your selected like fast team running, and all of the runes that you had on your fast team running would actually be loaded in here. But then if you go to your dragons and you say it's like, okay, now I want to use my full dragons team, everything in your dragons team is loaded in. So you have a loadout for every individual team, or well, multiple teams on every individual dungeon. Might be a Com2us storage issue, which has been the answer a little bit back and forth before. But there's a few things that really solve this, which is just super nice. Because especially if I go into R5 right now, or if there's like this free R5 event, I don't like doing R5. Because if I go to R5, I would have to go in here. It's like, okay, who's all not ruined up? You're half ruined. You're half ruined. You're half ruined. Oh, you're actually ruined, but not good ruined. You're not ruined because you need to be well ruined. So many things are just like straight up missing runes that I'm like, yeah, might as well this event be here for the weekend, but I don't care because I have to rerune like 16 different things, which is just highly annoying and it's frustrating and it's just like a mess to do. So let me show that first, how that looks like in Ethereum Restart, and let me then also show what kind of other things you can do with this to just make things a lot more chill, because right now I think a lot of people are just simply mindlessly farming giants. They don't really want to switch runes because it just takes effort. It is annoying. But at that time, you can actually just set up all of your stuff good once, and then the moment that you improve something, you go to that one and you just save that over. Super easy like that. I might just say is like, but say Com2us is never gonna like implement whatever anything else does in another game. Well, to be honest, in the space of gacha games, all of these games are copying everything of one another, and they're always trying to keep the best stuff out there and then remove the worst. So therefore, you don't see any other game with fire runes, I guess. But yeah, that's just kind of the thing. A lot of these games do tend to kind of copy of one another. So this might be a good copy right there, Com2us. So let me show how that looks like in the other game. The other game is, of course, Ethereum Restart. I've been playing that for a fair bit. Definitely still been enjoying. I've been a little bit of a hiccups over there as well. But the moment this quality of life feature was added in, I was like, yo, this is so good. So let's say I go into this dungeon right now. So we're going to go into this dungeon. Gotta load for a second, as always. From here, I can see these things. I can already see this one doesn't have a shell. Like, this is like an artifact kind of thing. I can already see over here, it's like, yo, it's missing a few pieces. What I can do over here is go to the loadout and be like, yo, equip everything on this loadout, done. Now I can start farming this. And this one has the right loadout. I also have like two different teams. The only difference is like this artifact and that artifact kind of thingy. I can select this one right now. I can farm it in a different style. I can also be kind of like testing around. It's like, oh, what if like this unit is added in there, that unit is added in there. I go in here, let's actually save this new setup. Let's try it a bit. Oh, it was actually not really great. Well, back to the old style without having too much issues, because now everything is just geared back to that old style. And you have this for every dungeon. So none of these dungeons are actually linked one another to how your runing is look like. And since in Summoners War we don't have PvP pretty much locked into anything right now, might as well really focus on like the PvE kind of stuff going in there. So let's say we go for this dungeon over here. Once again, as mentioned, different team in here. We can see this dude already is missing well, just the shell. I think you are also missing a few pieces while you're missing everything at the moment. We go in here, use whatever I used before. Thank you very much. Ruined up completely. I can start farming this. Wouldn't that be absolutely amazing to have that for R5, for like the artifact dungeon, so you can actually decide like, ooh, I'm just going to do artifacts for a day rather than anything else, because in Summoners War, if you're trying to rune up everything at the same time, let me count how many runes you need in a second, because that's an insane amount. But also in here, let's say that you get like, ooh, let's say that you got an upgrade on something. So you go to this one over here. Let's say that we have like a random, like I'm going a little bit too in depth for this game for the people that don't really know this. But let's say this is a faster piece over there. I equip that piece. And then what I can do is just simply say, it's like, okay, we just saved that as a new formation, or I saved it over the old formation or anything like that. It's just really simple to do all of those. And of course, you can also just delete them, because that one didn't make any sense because I actually stole a piece from you. But since I stole a piece from you, oh, let's set that back. Do I have to go into any like room management, whatever and whatnot? No, I just load back the whole thing. wouldn't that be absolutely amazing to have that same thing in Summoners War? Because that way it would be so much easier to switch dungeons for just a day. It would be so much easier to try out a different team rather than having to load back in a whole team. Or like, sure, you can use the thing over here, which is say is like, I'll make a save state, load back that save state. Sure, it kind of makes sense, but you really have to keep track of like, okay, what's going on. And to be honest, I think you just need like 1 or 2 teams for everything, maybe 3. And now you can easily just switch back and forth. You can actually try new teams, switch back to the old team. Maybe you want to run like something else on a different style for a little bit. You can actually try some stuff out. Plus, once everything is properly set up, you can use all of your best runes on all of your dungeons. Because right now, if you want to, let's say we don't use any overlap, you can kind of use some overlap. But in the end, your dungeon is best if you use your best runes on your best units. It's not best if you just like, okay, let's say that you want to use a Luna in here, but you also use a Luna in here, but your Luna in here has to be plus 60 speed, and your Luna in here has to be plus 52 speed. You already have an issue. You already have something that's like, okay, I gotta start swapping a little bit. Also, if you farm this over here, your Luna has to be damage on fire. The moment you say it's like, oh, I want to farm giants for a bit, and you have a Luna in here, you have to swap that to damage on giants. All of those kind of niche things would just be made so much easier and so much just more chill for farming. Sure, the first setup will take you a bit of time, but in here, you need 30 runes over here. You need 60 in there in total then. Well, like 30, 30, 30. So then we're talking about 90 runes. We need 120 runes, 150 runes. And then if we go into the Rift Beasts, sure, or Rift Raids, sure, there's a lot of overlap in here, but let's just take the base value of all of them. We got 18 units, so we're looking at another 108 runes. We already had 120 runes, so we're looking at 228 runes needed to do all of your dungeons at the same time. And then people wonder to me, is like, why are you not having everything ruined at the same time? So you need 228 runes for all of your PvE stuff, that actually runes that make sense and kind of stuff. Yeah, no, that's just highly annoying. Plus, there's a fair bit of overlap between units. Like, let's say you use an Ikaru here, but you need it on will. Like this one, for example, if you have an Ikaru on here, you need it on will. If you use it somewhere else, you don't need it on will. That kind of stuff. Sure, you could build multiple of it. But wouldn't it be just like nice and sunshine and rainbows and super chill, especially in the early game, that if you switch one dungeon to the other, like, sure, the mana cost is still there. Maybe you can reduce that in here or something like that. That's the only difference that I would say is like, I'm not 100% sure about, because in Etheria Restart, you don't have mana cost for switching your gear. You do have mana cost for switching runes in this game. To be honest, in my opinion, remove the freaking mana cost from switching your runes. Like, to be honest, doesn't really matter. Just use the runes for upping runes in the first place. Maybe make them a slight bit more expensive or something. I don't even care. Or just don't care about mana at all, because most of the, like, end game players, they have been sitting on a bunch of billion mana anyways, and they have been doing that for the longest time. So mana isn't really a factor anymore that shouldn't be cared too much about. So let me know in the comments, what do you think about this feature? Would you like to use that? Maybe you have any other features of quality of life that you would really like to see Com2us add into the game. But yeah, for me personally as well, it would be great for content, because then everyone can actually go into a guide of using the best runes of your best stuff, rather than it's like, oh yeah, you made another Giants team, but I cannot make that because I don't have the runes for that, because my runes are spread out through like 16 different dungeons, right? So that is the main issue that I think, like, I think for a lot of people, they can make a lot of the dungeon guides, and I make sure, maybe not all, but if you were to farm some more artifacts, you would do that. But why are you not farming artifacts? You don't want to switch runes all the time to farm artifacts. So yeah, those kind of things are just solved. I think a lot of people would get a lot more progression, because I actually said it in a previous video. I think a lot of people should get their ass out of Giants. And why is that? You're just mindlessly trying to get a quad speed or like a high triple speed on Swift over here. Whereas if you get like a super random hero artifact over here, you're getting upgrades. If you feel like you farm for a month and you don't get a single upgrade, get your ass out of the dungeon, start farming something else. Because that's definitely not a issue of the drop rates being too shit. That is you farming something for too long of a time, and therefore you are not getting the upgrades, and therefore you are not progressing. Sure, you could say it's like, oh yeah, but I need this really one key piece for my Sonya to upgrade my whole account, and I'm going to be so much better. Most likely it's not going to be that much of an upgrade, to be honest. Plus, getting that one really specific key piece is very darn difficult. I can tell you re-ups are most likely gonna get you more RNG with that. And we also know the RNG on re-ups, they're mostly shit. They're mostly kind of ass as well. So yeah, trying to farm for that one key piece, like for example, I tried to, for the longest time, to like get a one key piece in here to get like a quad roll in here, or at least something with like a proper high attack in here or something like that, that actually made sense. Like this one, like sure I could make this 23, but the other bases are super terrible than this one as well. And I farmed an insane amount of giants, but still I did not get this one piece that I needed. Whereas if you look at this, like 34, 34, 31, 30, 30, yeah, you kind of get the idea of how many quads I got on this slot, and I still didn't get any on the slot 4 that I exactly needed, because it's just that rare if you need one very specific piece. Also in here, if you look at this, 29. I want a quad on this. I have 5 quads over here. That's just the RNG is gonna RNG, and if you're really farming for that one quad roll, you're probably not gonna get it, and you better get your ass out of that dungeon. Farm something else that can actually upgrade your account, because there's a lot of things. Just doing a bunch of Necro can really upgrade your account. There's great rage runes in there. There's a bunch of vampire units right now that are out there that are very interesting, such as the Misty. And of course, artifacts. Like if you check out the SWC players, all of them will tell you they probably have insane artifacts. There's not a single SWC player that has shitty artifacts. They can have somewhat mediocre runes here and there. Sure, most of the runes are good as well. But I can tell you, all of the SWC players have at least good hero artifacts. And that's the main thing. You need good hero artifacts, whereas you need good legendary runes. And that is kind of the main thing. Like, good heroes is a lot easier to get. But why are people not farming that? Because switching runes is annoying. And with all of this quality of life, I think that would be really nice. I hope this video does reach Com2us and they maybe make a thing out of it. If it would, well, I would say most of the time Com2us is not really doing big updates at the moment, but they're doing more quality of life things. So it's kind of in their alley of something that they might do at a given point. But yeah, that would be absolutely amazing, because for me, especially when there is anything along the lines of 3R5, I'm not doing it. They actually, in Ethereum Restart, also do it for all of the event stages. So let's say you go in here. Well, this is actually a good example as well. Let's say I want to be running this team. I want to click on it. I want to have an option, rune it as I used it last time. And then I want to start running this team, rune it as I used it last time. Because that is just the way to do it. Not as like, oh yeah, this dude is not ruined. Oh, let me use this team then. It's like, oh yeah, this is missing 2 pieces. This is missing a piece. Like, it's just super annoying. So yeah, that would make things a lot easier. So let me know in the comments if you do agree. Let me know in the comments if you have any other suggestions for quality of life updates. And see you as always in the next one. Thanks for watching. If you would like to see more guides, join the Discord and check out the content tab for the guide video archive, which contains all of the guides that you might need. Hope to see you there.